Being Canadian, I noticed a lot of subscribers asking me to do a vlog on the most recent Rebel Media True North decision that came out of the federal court ordering the Leaders Debates Commission to authorize or give media accreditation to Rebel Media and True North to attend the federal election debates that occurred last week. But just to test the overall community interest in the subject, I ran a poll in the community tab on my channel. I wasn't so much shocked to see that almost 60% of the respondents wanted a vlog on the subject. I was shocked that a whopping 40% of the respondents didn't even know that we were having elections in Canada. I think that says something. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber. I have 2 free hours on this beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon because my wife is at a kids party with the kids. And what am I doing? I'm doing a vlog. Why? Because I love it.
And I love doing it for you.
Plus, too many people were asking for a vlog on this subject and I felt guilty for not covering it, being Canadian and it being election season. So, what is the situation? Yes, we are having elections in Canada. We are having the most important federal elections in Canada. Now, I am not going to tell anybody who to vote for. I am not telling anybody who I am voting for. I believe that that is a violation of the fundamental rule of ethics that govern the subscriber content creator relationship.
Hillary Clinton.
I will be voting for Hillary Clinton.
Alright, so what's going on? Federal election means that we have federal election debate. Televised debates. Televised debates that I don't think very many people are watching, but they still get covered by the media. And in order to attend these events as media to do some reporting on them, you need to be accredited. And who accredits the media to attend these debates? In 2018, something called the Leaders Debates Commission was established, and its stated purpose reads as follows. The Leaders Debates Commission will make the debates a more predictable, reliable, and stable element of federal election campaigns. Now, I am not entirely familiar with what the Leaders Debates Commission actually is, and to be totally honest, I didn't know that it existed until this whole kerfuffle hit the fan. And the first thing that struck me when going to the Leaders Debates Commission website was the royal logo or the royal emblem that you see on the upper left-hand side of the website. Now, I may be wrong, but it is my understanding that that is a royal official government emblem, and it's not just any entity that gets to use official government emblems. So how is it that the Leaders Debates Commission uses that emblem? Well, simply put, the Leaders Debates Commission is itself a government body. It is a government body that is charged with organizing and holding 2 debates between the leaders of eligible political parties during a federal election. The commission is required to hold 1 debate in each of Canada's official languages, English and French. The first debates held by the commission will take place during the election campaign of the next federal election. That is how young the commission is. This is the first federal election that the Leaders Debates Commission is carrying out its government-authorized mandate to conduct the federal election debates. And if you go to the Leaders Debates Commission website and you go to the Mandates and Roles sub-tab, whatever that thing is, you get some amazing and highly pertinent information as to what the commission is supposed to do, at least in theory. Mandate. Select and establish a 7-member advisory board. Enter into a contract for the production of the debates. Ensure the debates are broadcast and distributed widely and free of charge. Ensure the debates reach as many Canadians as possible, including those living in remote areas, those living in official language minority communities, and those living with disabilities. Engage with political parties and ensure that the criteria for participation of political parties in the debates be applied fairly and in full transparency. Engage with Canadians to raise awareness about the debates. Ensure the debates are conducted under high journalistic standards. And following the 2019 general election and no later than March 31st, 2020, provide a report to Parliament outlining blah, 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 blah. Irrelevant. Ensure the debates are conducted under high journalistic standards. What does that mean? I don't know. I couldn't find out anything more. I don't know how the Leaders Debates Commission go about authorizing or approving media to cover the event. All that I know is that when they denied a press pass or media accreditation to True North and Rebel Media, the stuff hit the fan. So who is Rebel Media and True North? Now, I repeat this with neither approval nor repudiation, but in the mainstream media, Rebel Media and True North are generally regarded as far-right media organizations. I do say this, however, in the same breath as having been called alt-right for the content I produce, but I digress. For right or for wrong, they are qualified as far-right media organizations. Now, they apply for media accreditation to cover the federal elections, as does a slew of other media organizations. The day before the elections are to take place, I think it was a Friday and the elections were on a Monday, the business and juridical day before the debates were scheduled to take place, Rebel Media and True North are refused media accreditation on the basis that they are advocacy and not media organizations. Now, I tried to find the criteria for accreditation of media organizations to cover the debates, and I couldn't find anything on the Leaders Debates Commission's website or in the order in council governing the Leaders Debates Commission. But given their government mandate to ensure that the debates are conducted under high journalistic standards, it seems that they refused Rebel Media and True North accreditation on the basis that's a wasp. My goodness, what is wrong with... They refused to give media accreditation to Rebel Media and True North on the Friday before the debates on the Monday, on the alleged basis that Rebel Media and True North are advocating advocacy organizations and not media organizations. Now this in law is what we call the Friday afternoon special. It's not an accident, it's strategic. Notify a media outlet the day before the event is scheduled to take place that they don't have media accreditation. What are they going to do? Most people would have just rolled over and done nothing. True North and Rebel Media lawyer up, they go straight to the federal court, and they, from what I understand, applied for a provisional injunction to enjoin the Leaders Debate Commission to authorize media accreditation so that they can go and cover the event like the other media organizations that were authorized. And in law, this is an amazing thing. True North and Rebel Media have to lawyer up. Their lawyers, over the course of a weekend, have to review all of the documentation, prepare a case, apply to court, go to court, plead the case, and have a judge render his or her decision the day of, before the event takes place, because if the event takes place, the damage is done and there's no way of remedying that prejudice. Now, Rebel Media and True North, from what I understand, applied for a preliminary, provisional, or urgent injunction. And for those of you who don't know what an injunction is, it is an order enjoining someone to do or to not do something on a temporary or permanent basis. And you have several types of injunctions. The terminology may differ depending on the jurisdiction. You have your provisional, interlocutory, and permanent injunction. Provisional is the most urgent. It's that if we don't get the order, the damage will be done, and there will be no way of remedying the damage done on final judgment. As is the case with this debate. If the debate goes on and Rebel Media and True North are not allowed to cover it as a media organization, nothing can be done to remedy that. A judgment can be rendered compensating them for certain damages, specifying that in the future certain things have to be done, but nothing will be able to undo what was done in the absence of a provisional injunction ordering that which is at issue be done, notwithstanding the Leaders Debates Commission's objections to giving the accreditation to Rebel Media and True North. And just imagine this. The lawyers have been working throughout the weekend. You show up to court on a Monday and you say, we have to be heard by a judge today, because if we are heard by a judge tomorrow, the question is academic. It's a fait accompli. The damage is done. And Rebel Media and True North get in front of the judge, and from what I understand, various government organizations also have lawyered up at taxpayer expense to get in front of the judge to contest the motion by Rebel Media and True North, and they argue. Now, there are typically really only 6 hours in a court day. Court opens at give or take 9 o'clock. It breaks for a pause at give or take 11:30. It breaks for lunch at give or take 12:30. It comes back from lunch at give or take 2 o'clock. It has another break at give or take 3:30, and it shuts down at 4:30 in the absence of any urgencies. And Rebel Media, True North show up and they say, we need to be heard today, we need a judgment today, because if it's not done today, it's going to be too late. And they plead for the injunction. Now, when you plead for a provisional or interlocutory injunction, there are generally speaking 3 criteria that need to be established: color of right, irreparable harm, and balance of inconvenience. Color of right meaning, do I even have an appearance of right in the lawsuit that I have filed? If someone sues for something absolutely frivolous and outlandish on its face, they're probably not going to get a provisional or interlocutory injunction if they seem to have a reasonable case or any reasonable chance of success. And in absence of granting the requested order, they will no longer have any chance of success. Well, that satisfies the first criteria of color of right, appearance of right. Irreparable harm. In the absence of the requested order, there will be irreparable harm that cannot be remedied by final judgment. And the general idea is that if you can be compensated monetarily for the damages, well, you're not going to get a provisional injunction because the damage is not irreparable. It can be compensated by monetary award on final judgment. This case is a perfect example of where a monetary award on final judgment will not be able to remedy the prejudice of having not been able to cover the event as it happened. And in some jurisdictions, irreparable harm just need be extremely serious harm, but it doesn't really matter. That's the idea. If it can't be remedied on final judgment by a monetary award, then the criteria of irreparable harm is satisfied. And then the last criteria is balance of inconvenience. Who is going to be more greatly prejudiced if the requested order is not granted? And this is a perfect illustration to apply that criteria to. Who, in this situation, is going to be more greatly prejudiced if the requested order is not granted? If accreditation is not granted to Rebel Media, they will be forever deprived of having covered that event as it occurred. If the requested order is granted, what prejudice at all will the Leaders Debates Commission suffer? They're going to have to suffer the presence of a far-right media organization that might be involved in advocacy journalism? I mean, the bottom line is that the Leaders Debates Commission will suffer absolutely no prejudice if they are forced to give the required media accreditation to Rebel Media and True North. And apparently, after hearing something in the order of 90 minutes of argumentation, that is exactly the conclusion that the federal court judge came to. And the judge ordered the Leaders Debates Commission to immediately authorize and provide media accreditation to Rebel Media and True North. Now, I looked around for the judgment, and apparently the judgment was rendered orally, and the written motivation is going to follow shortly. And this occurred obviously because the judge simply did not have the time to provide a written decision, and instead provided the oral conclusions with the written judgment to follow. And the written judgment is presumably going to be very well drafted because it is going to serve as precedent in the future for this type of chicanery. Yes, I'm saying it again.
Chicanery.
And that is the situation as it currently stands, and I'll be following it as it develops. Now, the thing about the Leaders' Debates Commission is that it is a government body. It is a government body intended to regulate those who get to attend federal elections. One could easily assume that there could be certain conflicts of interests in terms of who this government body authorizes to cover these events. Now, I know people are saying that just because it's a government body doesn't mean it's not going to be independent. But if this situation illustrates anything, it illustrates the fundamental risk of a conflict of interest and the Leaders' Debates Commission choosing, handpicking, cherry-picking who gets to cover the event and who doesn't. Potentially arbitrarily deciding who qualifies as a media organization and who qualifies as an advocacy organization. Some people have the tendency of trusting government over private enterprise because it's the government. It's there for our own good, right? As far as I am concerned, private enterprise is equally as untrustworthy as the government. The only difference is in their underlying motivations. Private enterprise, by and large, is motivated strictly by profit. And when I know that the underlying interest in private enterprise is profit, well, I can predict their behavior a little more, as opposed to when the underlying motivation is that of power. That makes it a lot more difficult to predict behavior. But in any case, that is a big parenthesis that is deviating from the subject of this video, which, if you liked, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want one of these bad boy Keep Calm and Vlog On shirts, link is in the comment section below, and now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah!